Welcome, everyone. This is Up Your Rank FPL. We are your hosts. I'm AC. That's Bry, bringing you another episode. This time around, we got a double Game Week 11 review and Game Week 12 review. As always, guys, if you're new around here and you've been enjoying the content we've been bringing you, please make sure that you smash that like button. Give us a follow on Twitter at Up Your Rank FPL. And make sure that you share this video with those in your community. Let's get it. Bri, my guy, I am back. Wagwan. I feel like I haven't shot a video in so long. It's kind of nuts. My apologies, leaving you hanging while I've been in Jamaica catching a little bit of a tan. What's up, man?
Yo, listen, man, it's all good. Definitely glad to have you back. It's been a couple crazy, not even a couple, it's been a few crazy game weeks that we haven't gotten to get your expert weigh in on some things and seeing how your team's been going on. So I'm definitely back. I'm glad to have you back. Excited for you. I know your trip went excellently. We won't touch on that. We want to keep it focused on the football. But this game week was crazy, man. I didn't get the chance to watch every single game like I wanted to, but I did catch highlights. I caught a couple of games as well. And I feel like this was that game week that has finally kind of flipped the season a little bit on its head. If you were someone who took a gamble this week, especially when it came to captaincy, it paid off, probably. This was kind of one of those weeks. So excited to see how the teams kind of panned out and how things are going. How'd you find the game week, man?
Well, first of all, I got to do two things. One, I want to say that, Bri, I appreciate the kind words, but an FPL expert, I'm not so sure that's necessarily going to be a tag that I use on myself. I'm just here for the banter. I'm here for the fun. Otherwise, the second thing I want to say is for anybody who we may not have given a heads up on in terms of my absence, apologies. We'll do a better job of making sure that we communicate that to any of our regular viewers. But in terms of the game week itself, I am going to say that this was one of those game weeks that, in my opinion, could have gone a lot better. I felt as though I was really trying to plan for game week 11. I did things that maybe I shouldn't have done early on. I bet against Martinelli in the last couple of game weeks. He had an assist in game week 9, I think it was. Then he had the double-digit haul in game week 10, and he was already removed from my team because I was, again, building towards game week 12 that's coming up, expecting his price to fall when, in fact, it actually only went up. Right, I bet against KDB where he also went up. Both of these guys didn't necessarily do anything in game week 11. As I wasn't expecting Martinelli to blank game week 11. I was expecting him to blank the two previous game weeks, and I wasn't expecting KDB. As many people were probably not expecting KDB to blank game week 11. I mean, that Liverpool victory coming from a Liverpool fan was the most insane thing I have seen this particular season so far. I would never have put money on Liverpool to win that game.
Yeah, that was definitely an upset, especially as a neutral. I don't have a dog in the fight and didn't see that coming. But hey, that's a mark of a good team, right? Even when they're down and they're figuring things out, trying to find a way to still get the dub, especially when the competition elevates their performance. I think that kind of shone through that game. I was impressed with y'all. Y'all look good. I mean, still, I think there were a couple of, questionable things that occurred, like in any big game, but hey man, that's a mark of a big team. Big game comes up and you find a way to get the dub, get the 3 points.
What did you think was questionable out of curiosity?
I'm not going to touch on it. I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not going to touch on that. Just overall, I would just say, what was most questionable was just, from as a neutral, I didn't expect Liverpool to keep a clean sheet. I'll say that. I think that was the most surprising thing that came out of that game.
Where I thought you were going to go, and obviously you said you were going to comment on it, but I thought you were going to go and say, you know what, it wasn't a Haaland foul. If the goal should have counted. That's what
I'm not going to say anything. Listen, man, it is what it is. It is.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter, but
it does. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, hey, if it was Chelsea and it went against us, like it has, stuff like that in the past, cool. I'd mention it, but hey, man, it is what it is. That's just a game.
I'm gonna be coming to your team, but while we're on topic of fouls, as I was mentioning earlier, just things that I was doing preparing for this particular game week. We have James Maddison. Now, a lot of managers have James Maddison in their team. As a matter of fact, the fact that since I brought him into my team, since you brought him into your team, I believe he's gone up by 0.4 in price since he's been brought into. A lot of people were waiting for Maddison to have this beautiful, at least on paper, fixture against Leeds. He's the only person, I don't want to say only, but like he really is the only person, maybe Daka here and there, maybe Barnes here and there, who are doing anything in terms of being an FPL asset on that team. And then you get a silly foul in the 94th minute. Like, come on.
Here's the craziest part about James Maddison. I brought him in, as you know, when I wildcarded, I was looking to bring him in then. I took the chance to just wait up against Kulu, and bank the transfer, et cetera, et cetera. So I was going to bring him in for game week 8, but I didn't end up doing it until game week 9. Game week 9 was where he had the double-digit haul. He had the 2 goals and the assists. But prior to game week 9, Maddison only had 2 yellow cards all season. Mm-hmm. In game week 9, he got a yellow card. In game week 10, he got a yellow card. In game week 11, he gets another yellow card. That is an actual joke, fam. Considering the fact that I brought him in on the wild card, specifically targeting the game week 12 fixture, like the yellow cards wasn't even something that I was factoring in because there's only 3 games left. Like, there's no way you could get 3 yellow cards in 3 games as an attacking midfielder. Madison don't even play no defense to be getting yellow cards like that. That's crazy. That's definitely the biggest thing for me that I need to get off my chest is that foolishness.
Well, I mean, there is so much more foolishness. Like, look at the fact, not that he did anything from an FPL perspective, but just in case managers were upset about having to transfer out a player, we were told that Trent Alexander-Arnold was going to be out for X amount of weeks. All of a sudden, he's on the bench. All of a sudden, he gets playing time. Where did that come from?
That's a joke.
Oh, hold on. Let's talk about some more things that are jokes. What about Mitrovic? How did Mitrovic just all of a sudden... But we should have probably known better because we said it on a couple weeks back, saying that if Mitrovic can play, they're going to run him into the ground.
They're going to run him into the ground
because they need him to do X, Y, Z, basically everything, to be able to get any type of points.
Mitch, you have to understand for Fulham, if Mitrovic is injured for any significant amount of time, Fulham gets relegated. Period. There's literally no way around it. So they're going to do anything they can do to run him into the ground to try and get their points. And, hey, credit to them. They played him and they took home the 3 points. So you can't even, you know what I mean? You can't even be mad at them. You know what I mean? They're going to run him down. And, hey, I expect him to get another 65, 70 minutes this coming game week.
And he scored. Really, and then how many managers like me had him on the bench? Because I didn't think he was going to play.
Hey, man, that's craziness. It's crazy. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we jump into the team and actually start sifting through some of what happened during the game week? Do you want me to pull up my team or do you want to jump and dive in? How you feeling?
I'm still upset. I'm going to bring up my team.
Let's do it.
Game week 11. a total of 54 points. And let me tell you why I'm mad. Although I may have been higher than the average points, this could have been that game week for me where I was significantly higher than the game week average. Now, where I fell short is going for a defender on your team.
Is that one of the transfers that you made? Because
that was one of the transfers.
Made two.
I made two transfers. I took a -4. I brought in Reece James. First of all, let me just be very clear. I knew your team was going to get 2 clean sheets in the last 2 game weeks, and they did.
Yep.
I just had the wrong. I'm not going to curse. I just had the wrong defenders. I bring in Reece James for Reece James to come in and play like 18 minutes and get me to 1 point. And then I had to transfer out Reece James, but I'm like, I know Chelsea's going to get a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Let me play Cucurella. Yeah, and then he gets taken off at halftime. I didn't watch the game, but I was kind of following along with respects to kind of what some people were saying. Now, I heard, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that he was not the only wing back having a bad game.
He definitely was not. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When I saw Koulibaly come on at halftime, I was actually a little bit. What I thought he had done, I thought he had actually taken off Ben Chilwell and just shifted Cuckoo, to left wing back. But then I saw, he actually took Cuckoo off and brought on Koulibaly. Did he deserve to get taken off? I don't know. I don't think it's as clear cut. But hey, the man, honestly, that's the one credit I will give to Graham Potter so far. He's done an amazing job. During that game, he changed the formation like in the first half, like 4 different times. Like while the game was going on, which our previous coach would never do. Our previous coach would just let it stay and have the players figure it out. Like he switched that formation up so many times. So the fact that he took him off at halftime was shocking to me. Not gonna lie. You got a little hard done there.
So that one just stings because he's who I took the hit for. But I also originally had brought in Son. I brought Son back into the team. And the reason why I brought Son back into the team is because I knew that Harry Kane was going to score. Harry Kane is going to score every single game. He's going to get a return almost every single game. It's just that he's so expensive to fit into the team that I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. I didn't want to take out Tony, and I didn't want to take out Mitrovic because I know that I'm going to want Mitrovic for the next coming games. Gotcha. Now, I'm so happy that I didn't. I was so close to taking out Tony for Kane and not taking a hit. And I would have been even more upset at myself for that decision. So I'm because you saw what happened to me before. I said to myself, if I take out Tony again, he's going to burn me and get a double-digit haul. And that's exactly what he did. But I kept him this time. So I learned my lesson.
Yep.
But so I brought in Son instead. I was contemplating Son a long time for that Everton game. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Everton is not conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah, they're not.
And I'm not going to be targeting players who are playing against Everton anymore. No, not right now, because they seem to be, they're not necessarily winning games, but they're not conceding 3-4 goals at a time, which is not great for me playing FPL.
They figured it out.
I want a team like Bournemouth. I want a team like Nottingham Forest, a team that's going to be conceding. Shoot, even Villa. Villa's conceding a lot of goals. And I'm starting to, and Fulham is conceding. They've kept 1 clean sheet. To
be honest, I think that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. We need to take Bournemouth out of that list. Since the Liverpool 9-0, Bournemouth has not been conceding that many goals, man.
Sure, fine. To be fair, I guess I'm looking at total numbers, and the 9-0 win is going to inflate.
It totally weighs it heavily. But Bournemouth, they've since that game, they've been a team I wouldn't say I'm targeting anymore, personally.
You're right. Let's go back to the overall team as a whole. Just kind of, you can see on my bench, I have Mitrovic and Gueye, who I did not expect Palace to keep that clean sheet. Hence why he's on the bench, because I expected Maddison to score, and Maddison blanked. But to make matters worse, Zaha blanks. So if you look at my entire midfield, everybody blanks except for Andreas.
Andreas, yep.
Right in the back line. How is it that I did not expect City to concede, and it's this man's fault? What was Cancelo doing? I'm not even mad because it's a real life win for victory, but from for Liverpool, real life victory. But what was that, yo? If you're gonna play, if you're gonna try to gamble like that, bro, you need to make sure that you don't mess up. Now, I'm sure you've seen this. Did you see that reporter who asked Pep what had happened?
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna have to send you this video because Pep's face, priceless. Priceless. Like, it was the funniest thing that I've seen, because the interviewer asked Pep, what was the mistake? And Pep looked at him like, are you serious? Hilarious, man. Trippier, he is the most owned defender in the game. Must have on everybody's team at this point, considering his price point. He's gone up. I think he's all the way at like 5'7". Thank God I got him. I didn't get him early, but thank God I've seen some value, like 0.4 increase. He has actually returned, I think, in every game except for 2. Let me just click on here. Pretty sure he's returned every single game except for 2. He didn't return in the Liverpool game.
4 and 5.
And yeah, 4 and 5. Otherwise, he has a return in every game, whether it's a clean sheet, whether it's a goal, whether it's an assist. And he has no double-digit hauls. He's just just getting you some points. He's averaging like 6.6 points per game, and at his price point, that's a point. That's over a point per mil.
Yeah, that is really excellent.
Really good. It's really good. Right, excellent value. Most owned defender in the game. Jose Sa. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
listen,
what happened here?
I was watching the game.
I didn't watch this game.
I did watch the game, but I went to go take a shower, and I missed the second half. The game was boring. It's Wolves. They don't score, right? So, and I'm here, and I'm thinking, and I'm saying to myself, who were they facing again? They were facing Nottingham Forest.
Forest, yes.
And I'm saying to myself, hold on. They're facing Forest. It's not going to be. Forest doesn't really score a lot of goals. Wolves don't score a lot of goals. So I just went to go take a shower thinking I wasn't going to miss anything. When I went back to my phone and I opened up because I didn't watch the second half at all. I opened up my phone. I'm like, penalty save? You're joking. I was just saying this. I'm just like, yes. Because I had already seen Raya get a double-digit haul, and I was betting, and I bet at this point I'm frustrated because I had Ben Me earlier in the season. Now Brentford's getting clean sheets.
I thought about you during that game still.
Right? And then I said to myself, well, Crystal Palace defense, I want into the defense, but I didn't necessarily want to buy the goalkeeper, Guaita, or however you pronounce his name. So I said, let me just go for Wolves because I feel like so when I'm seeing Crystal Palace get clean sheets, double digits, when I'm seeing Raya get double-digit clean, I'm saying to myself, what the hell is going on? Wolves are about to concede. So when I saw that he actually had a penalty save, I literally thought I grabbed my phone, I text my girl, and I'm just like, baby, I'm sending a voice note. So I'm super excited, and it was a really an unprecedented game week for goalkeepers with respect to clean sheets this season. There was a lot of double-digit hauls. There were a lot of clean sheets. De Gea got a clean sheet. Pope got a clean sheet. Allison got a clean sheet. Saw got a clean sheet. Raya got a clean sheet.
Raya, yep.
What was the score of that Brighton game?
Lloris got one as well.
Oh, Lloris got a clean sheet.
Lloris got one. Arsenal got one. Chelsea got one.
Bro, clean sheet galore.
Yeah,
with double. Allison got an assist.
Ward got a clean sheet as well.
Like what a game week for the goalkeepers. Like you almost couldn't go wrong with a goalkeeper this game week when we've been getting it wrong all season.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So overall, the armband failed. It's not often that the armband fails on Haaland. Tony, thank God. If it wasn't for Tony and Saw, this would have been a disastrous game week. But overall, I have to take it for what it is. I'm disappointed with the result, but we march on to game week 12. Before we do that, walk us through your team, how you're feeling. I ain't got nothing to talk about in my middle. That's why I skipped them.
All right, sounds good. Let's go. Let's do it. I'll bring it up. Three, two, one. So this is how the team was set up for game week 11. 45 points all in. Just about average. I mean, 1 point below the average. Did one transfer. Game week rank of 5.7 million. Listen, this game week was on the cards for me. It had to come sometime. I did a quick glance, and from game week 5 being ranked almost 3.3 mil overall, it's been nothing but green arrows kind of sliding up. Hey, it had to kind of revert to the mean at some point, right? That kind of had to correct itself. So we took a small red arrow here, still in the top 1 mil, which is okay. Kind of exactly where, based on the start, kind of exactly where I'd like to be right now. Going through the team, Pope finally got a clean sheet. This was actually one of the games that I said purposely I was not going to watch this game because I did not want to see my goalkeeper lose another clean sheet again. So I let it rock. Pope gets a clean sheet. No save points, sadly. Trippier also gets the clean as well. Cancelo, we saw what happened in his game. I want to touch on Webster for a second here because I made one transfer, and the transfer was for Reece James. Now, my team was, to be honest, prior to the injury and Madison's silliness, I feel like my team was perfectly set up going into game week 12. I would have been able to roll the transfer. I'd have been all good. No issues to worry about. I could have made 2 kind of crazy moves. I was very well prepared. James's injury threw that off. I weighed up against several defenders, and I ended up on a Brighton defender, but not so much for this particular game week. It's more so for next week. They're playing Nottingham Forest in game week 12. So it's kind of just one of those transfers where I wasn't expecting much, and I didn't want to play Gehi, who was on my bench, versus Madison. I was hoping Madison was going to be able to do something. So nothing from it. In the midfield, Bowen, blank, Zaha, blank, Madison, blank, Martinelli, blank. All right, we can move on from there. In up front, the captain, Haaland, blanks for the first time in how long? I don't know if he's even blanked all season. That might have been the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
That was his first blank of the season.
Yeah, that's his first one of the season. So it had to happen at some point. His ownership is so high.
Everyone captained him.
Everyone captained.
Wasn't he the most captained player of the game week?
His ownership has actually gone down now. Well, I guess with game week 12, with him not playing, I could see maybe some players shipping him out, which makes no sense to me. But hey, do whatever it is, however you want to play your game, play your game.
Could have been people who bought him late though, so they don't have money. They don't have money tied up in him. So you sell him now, you can buy him back, and it's not costing you anything.
Yeah, which totally makes sense there. So Haaland, he ends up blanking. Kane gets a goal. I'm actually really liking how Harry Kane has been kind of ticking over.
Look at the numbers.
The funny part about this whole thing, is game week 1 is the only time he's blanked, and that's the one game that I had him prior to bringing him back on the wild card. So that's
Isn't that crazy that if you had Haaland and Kane to start the season, like it would have just been that's a lot of points.
You'd have just been cruising. So Haaland does his thing, and I ended up just starting Mitro. My thinking with starting Mitro at the time was like, hey, if he doesn't play,
you started Mitro.
I started
son of a. But you have Andreas on the bench.
Yeah. So either way, it was one of those situations, especially with James. So when James' injury occurred and I was looking at the transfer, I knew that there were going to be points on my bench. The problem was I knew James was going to drop in price before the game week.
Yeah.
And so it was just a scenario of like, I don't know where these points are going to come from, whether it's going to be from a Gahey or a Nico Williams if he started, or an Andreas. I knew somebody was going to return, but all their games were just so tight. I couldn't call it beforehand, so I just went with throwing Webster in there. So the bench, ton of points on the bench, 14 points on the bench. Overall, game week wasn't great, but I feel like I'm more set up for game week 12 more so than anything, and that's all I can ask for. Hopefully, we can make up some ground there. But that's how the team netted out. 1 point below average. Not a great game week at all. But we'll keep it pushing. Rank didn't get hurt too much due to really. I think it's more so due to Holland blanking that it didn't end up doing too much damage.
So while we're on the topic of your team, how are you thinking of setting up for game week 12?
Yeah, let's jump into that. So for game week 12, right now I have, of course, all my City and Arsenal players on the bench as they blank this game week. In the back, I have Pope. He's going to start. Iverson doesn't look, especially now with Ward, keeping clean sheets. I don't think the Iverson gamble is going to pay off. I don't think Brendan Rodgers is ever going to switch him up. Not that I would start him this week, but it would have been nice to have the option.
Yes.
Webster is going to start. Really why I brought him in with my previous transfer. He's playing Nottingham Forest at home. So looking at all of the defensive games that are going on this week, I think Brighton and Crystal Palace just have the best opportunities for clean sheets. That's my thought process going into this week. Trippier, I think he's right now one of the best defenders in the game, like you mentioned. He's going to start as well. Gahey and Nico Williams to round it out. Key thing for Nico Williams, we were a little concerned with Aurier starting the game 2 game weeks back. He started in game week 10. His manager has come out and said that Aurier, after he started, he thinks that he rushed him a little bit. He has some niggling injuries. You know what I mean? He's not quite up to par yet. So I think, I'm really saying this with fingers crossed, I think Nico Williams is good to start this game week. Then in the midfield, it's going to be Andreas against Villa. I've had Andreas on the bench for his last 2 returns. Now that I'm going to start him, I am expecting him to blank.
Stop jinxing it for everybody else.
I am expecting him to blank. I could just feel it already. Bowen is going up against Liverpool. That is not necessarily a great fixture right now based on how they just looked versus City. But right. I'm hoping that Trent comes back into the team now that he's fit. And you know what I mean? Defensively can get a little shaky again. That's what I'm hoping. Zaha against Wolves in the last 2 games that he's played against Wolves, he scored all last season in both fixtures. So I'm hoping that he can repay that again. Madison's in there for now, but that's only because I haven't made a transfer. And then I have Harry Kane and Mitrovic up top. Right now, the captaincy is on Harry Kane, and the vice captaincy is on Kieran Trippier right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep it that way. I actually might end up reversing it. I don't know. It's one of those weeks where it can be a little bit dicey, but I think I like Kane versus United. He's on penalties. He's playing well. He's returning. I think I might just end up keeping it on him. But this is one of those game weeks where I think it's very important to get the captaincy right, especially with Haaland no longer being an option this particular week. In terms of what I'm thinking for transfer plans, if I just jump to the transfer page, Madison, of course, needs to be the one to go. It sucks because I have a ton of value tied up in Madison. I got him when he was 7.9 mil. He's risen to 8.3. And selling price for me is going to be 8.1. So I got a ton of value up in him. But if I do end up removing him from the team, I got 10 mil in the bank to work with. I will definitely not be taking a hit. But initially, what I am thinking is that I might just go and bring in Trossard for the week, and then maybe transfer him back out because they play City next week. I don't really like making transfers like that, going in and out. I just feel like it's a waste. But who am I going to bring in? Honestly, right now, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not gonna front. I really don't know exactly who I'm gonna bring in. Maybe I just go for another one of the Leicester players. Maybe I bring in someone like Harvey Barnes or something like that. But I'm not the biggest fan of Barnes. I haven't found him to be a consistent enough FPL asset. Can't get a Liverpool player. Diaz is out. Nunes is up top. Obviously can't afford Mo. So I don't know. I really don't know. I might take a flyer on maybe someone from Tottenham, but I don't know. Right now, I got to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Now, I know that you're not one to take hits like a lot of managers. And I'm just throwing it out there because you haven't taken a lot of hits. I think you've taken one hit all season.
I've taken one hit all season.
I've taken 2 hits all season. And the second hit I took backfired. The first hit I took paid off. Or have I taken 3 hits? Shoot. I don't even know. I got to go back and check my history. But what I will say is this. If it's one time to take a hit, not even one time, because there's going to be lots of times. It's going to be this week because a lot of people are playing their free hit. Or a lot of people are taking hits just to field enough players. So hypothetically, if you were to get rid of Madison on your team, and now I'm not saying that this is the move to make, but I'm sure there may be a 1-2 player on your team who you're not necessarily vibing with. Maybe it's Bowen. Maybe it's Nico. Maybe it's Nico Williams. But you probably need somebody with a little bit more money. So that's why I'm kind of looking at Bowen. If you were to get rid of Bowen, you have 18.7. You buy Salah.
If I do something like this, it would 100% have to be Salah.
And then you have 5.4. You have 5.4 left. Now hear me out. Was Aston Villa playing this week? Just pull that up just so I
think they're playing
they're playing Fulham. Fulham have kept one clean sheet. Fulham is gonna get scored on. Fulham is gonna get scored on. Now
are you thinking
not Bailey.
This guy here?
Not Bailey. Not
I was about to say.
No. How much is Buendia? I know it sounds crazy.
Goodness.
I know. Is he too much? He's too much, I think. He's 5.8. He's 5.8.
Even if he was 4.8,
you wouldn't do it. Now, I'm just saying that maybe there's somebody at that 5 million price point that you could have as a bench fodder on a team. I don't think Andreas is the 4.5 player who just sits on your bench. He's been getting a 1-2 return. He's still on corners, right? Willian is not threatening as much as we may have originally thought. Jose Almiron, 5.2 million. Is he somebody who you target for? And can you click back on him? Let me see his upcoming fixtures.
Upcoming fixtures, yes. Everton. Sit him for Tottenham.
Maybe sit him on the bench. And you have Villa, you have Southampton, teams that concede. I mean, I'm just saying that if it's something to perhaps consider that there could be, if you care about having Mo onto your team, that there could be somebody at that 5. How much is billing? 5 point. Oh, he went up in price. Do you have enough?
5.3.
You have enough?
I do have enough. 5.4.
So
extra.
So you have extra.
Boy.
I'm just throwing it out there that it could be an opportunity where they're facing Southampton. Southampton is not a strong defensive team. Afterwards, Bournemouth also have West Ham, who is conceding. They then have Spurs, it's going to be a tough fixture, but you can sell them at that point. But then they're going to have Leeds. Then they're going to have Everton. Again, maybe they're not necessarily the easiest fixtures, and I'm not banging on Bournemouth to score a lot of goals. I'm just saying that if you want a captaincy option, you bring Saleh into your team. He's facing West Ham. He's coming off a little bit of a high. Give him the armband. This is the time when people wanted him, right? This
This
is when
this
everybody
this
said, how are you going to get your way back
how
to
are you gonna
Salah?
get
All
it
of a
back?
sudden, nobody's talking
This
about him.
you know what though? You're very right, because initially, if you remember when I was talking about the wild card, my plan was to dump Bowen this week to get funds out for Mo. That was a part of the plan. Um, where we are now, I don't know if I'm going to go that route.
Right.
I just don't know. I don't know if they're. I just don't know. I don't know if you know what it is. I just don't know if I trust Mo enough right now.
Yep.
That's more so the problem.
3 shots,
Even though he
one
played,
shot on target. He wasn't really doing that much for me, but it is against a City defense who is the best in the league still. So
yeah, yeah, and it is Mo at the end of the, I mean, best fantasy player for the last what 3-4 years in a row. So it still is him, but as of right now, I just don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with the team, and so I'm set up like this with Madison. Have one free transfer to make. That could easily be, that could easily be two. Take a hit, take out Madison, take out Bowen, bring in Mo and someone else, and just let it rock. I just don't know. I just don't know right now. I really don't know.
sticky.
But that's how I'm set up. That's how I'm set up right now. How about you? How are you looking?
Well, I'm kind of running into the same situation, so let me bring up my team. So this is my team currently. Had to bench my 2 City players. This is what I was building up to. And I know it's a little off topic, off segment, but when I think back to kind of how I started my year with the likes of a Cancelo, Allen, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, I had 5 players who were likely going to be benched. Well, we didn't know at the time it was going to be that game week that was going to get postponed, but the fact that I had to prepare for this particular game week and I only got to have 2 of those original 5 who are all doing so well. Saka has turned a new leaf. Love it for him. Absolutely love it for him. It bothers me deep down inside, but I have to just stay composed and know that we're only 33% done. Not even 33% done through FPL. A lot can happen. A lot can change. But going back to this particular game week, obviously I have to bench my City assets. Right now I have Nico Williams on the bench because I don't know what I want to do, because I'm looking at Madison and he's somebody who I may want to bring back into my team. Yes, he's suspended, but he has Wolves. But then it's a little bit of a trickier fixture against City. And then again, an Everton team that we just said is not giving up that many goals. So, and then Wolves is my goalkeeper. So I'm saying to myself, sure, I would maybe want to keep Madison. But when I think about from an FPL perspective, I'm betting against my goalkeeper, I'm betting against my defender, and it's a tough fixture. And then it's just an Everton team. Do I really care about Madison in the next few game weeks? To be honest with you, I personally probably don't.
Yeah.
So because of that, I am going to move Madison out of my squad. I don't know who yet, but I'm going to move Madison out of my squad. Hence, Nico Williams is still on the bench. I'm going to make this move soon before he drops in price at the time of us recording this video, because I want to get my value for him. Everywhere else on the team, what I am concerned about is with Nico Williams and Cucurella, because now I don't know what Potter is going to do.
Yeah.
And
no one knows.
I just don't know what he's gonna do. Do I bench him? Because if he doesn't play 90 minutes, and they happen to get a clean sheet, that's 3 weeks in a row where I have a Chelsea player who's not getting a defensive player who's not getting. That's frustrating. And I've taken hits for 2 of them. And they both gave me 1 point. So do I just say F it and bring in Nico Williams and just bench Cucurella? I don't know. Plus, I have Tony against Chelsea. So if Tony scores and Cucurella is in the game, there's no clean sheet anyway. Right? So then now I don't have Trossard, so I'm not really worried about, is Brighton going to score against my defenders? Because I'm just going to be happy. I don't have to worry about that on my particular team.
Yeah.
So it's that for me is I'm in a place now where it's tricky. I have Zaha going against my goalkeeper. I want to get a clean sheet, but I want Zaha to score. I can't have it both ways. unless Zaha scores and Zaha saves another penalty, I can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Um,
what you want is a penalty to happen, Saw to save the penalty, and Zaha to tap in the rebound.
That's what you want. That's exactly that's exactly what I would want. Bowen, like you said, now we are up against a Liverpool team that may just maybe they beat City again in the Community Shield before the season started. They beat City again. Now I didn't check no records, but I can't tell you the last time I saw Liverpool get back-to-back wins over Man City. Shout out Man City for winning best football club. But I'm looking at my team right now, and I'm not confident. I would rather be able to roll a transfer. I'm not glued to Madison, so he's going to come out. Because if I was glued to Madison, Nico Williams would just go in the game, and I would just roll the transfer, and I'd say what it is. But I'm not confident with Williams. I'm not confident with Zaha. I'm not confident with Son. I'm not confident with Bowen. I'm not confident with Kukurea. I'm not confident with Tony. All them, I'm not confident with. So as a result, I'm putting the armband on Mitrovic. Mitrovic has scored 5 of the 7 goals at Craven Cottage. I am expecting him to score against Villa. I'm looking for Tyrone Mings to do those mess up things that Tyrone Mings does. Please. That's what I want you to do, son.
Yeah.
So give me a freebie. Give Mitrovic a freebie the same way you did to Mason Mount. Because Mason Mount ain't shooting no shots on target, but y'all at Villa made him look like a superstar. And to his credit, Mason Mount has been doing really well since that England match. And since Potter is there. I don't know if it's a combination of all those things. Aubameyang's there. There are just more players on the pitch that have to be defended. That's maybe perhaps, and I'm not watching the games, is it giving him freedom to roam a little bit more?
It's freeing him up.
Right? So he got 2 assists before, and then now he has 2 goals. Like, that's so if you're gonna give me the chance, I'm gonna shoot. But if you're not gonna give me the chance, I'm gonna find my teammates. And is that what's happening? So I'm actually gonna watch this Chelsea Brentford game because I'm curious to know how Mason Mount was gonna do. There was a point in time where there was a lot of 8.0 midfielders that were hard to choose from. Kulusevski, Saka, Bowen, even though he was about 8.5, Madison, Diaz, and I think I might be missing one more who may have been in it. Foden. Yeah. Foden. The only 8.0 midfielder that's been rocking is Foden. Now he's like 8.4 mil, who's somebody who I'm actually going to be talking about in our next video because I think I can't get KDB, but I think I'm going to be targeting Foden. Yeah. But that's a talk for another video. In the meantime, all of these 8.0 midfielders are kind of coming along in their own way if they haven't already. So we saw Kulu get his double-digit haul, and I think he had one more haul. His time's done. We saw Diaz get a double-digit haul, and I think he got another haul. His time's done. Outside of Foden, Bowen got his double-digit haul.
Bowen got his, yeah.
His time might be done for now. Is it Mason Mount's turn? Saka already got his double-digit haul.
Maybe Mount just got his. Maybe Mount just got his.
Oh, he got 2 back-to-back.
Yeah. A lot of people, listen, what I will say about Mount and Potter, as a Chelsea fan, I know a lot of people are looking to bring him in based on what he just did. I would not be surprised if he is benched. I'm just going to throw that out there. I would not be surprised if he's benched and Conor Gallagher takes his spot. They play the same position. Connor's playing just as good typically before this game, before the 2 goals. I would not be surprised to see Mount on the bench and Connor start. Just going to throw it out.
Well, if I'm looking at Chelsea's upcoming fixtures, they have a game against United. Maybe you want Mason Mount to be fresh, but I got to stop doing this because I bet against KDB playing in the Southampton game. My man plays. So I have no credibility when it talks to the possibility of a player being benched. So I won't do that, but I definitely hear your concern. I think for me, it's just really hard to kind of, I would love to see Son redo what I know he's capable of doing against Man U, but Man U just got a clean sheet against Newcastle.
Yeah,
Newcastle's been struggling a little bit if compared to how they were performing in the beginning of the season. Not saying
yeah,
that they're I'm not saying that
goals
they're
are
gonna
harder.
fall off drastically, but they're having a hard time coming across W's from a non FPL perspective. So with Sun now, Man U defensively, they're keeping a couple clean sheets here. It's not easy to necessarily score against them at this particular juncture. Am I watching enough Man U games to know what's really popping defensively? Absolutely not. I won't. But I don't think it's going to be as easy for Tottenham to get onto the score sheet, especially when they're playing away from home. It's not going to
Yeah,
be easy at Old Trafford. I did think about having the armband on him. I can't let something like his previous hat trick or 4 goals or however many it was against them still linger in my mind, as that's why I want to put the armband on him, because that was a long time ago. And I got to stay present to where we are right now. And Son, his gamble has only worked once for me. Tried again and it's failed. So I can't. Instead, I'd rather put the armband on the vice captaincy on Trippier. Why? Because he is taking over in almost every single game.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Mitrovic is going to play. So I have no problem. I'm not thinking that the vice captaincy is going to have any type of value anyway. That's how my team is shaping up. I'm hoping to God Mitrovic can score a hat trick. If Mitrovic scores a hat trick, and for anyone who doesn't have the armband on him, that's going to be lovely for me. Absolutely lovely for me and all the other people who don't have Kane, people who don't have Salah, because we're going to be nervous watching the match from behind our couches or covering our eyes and turning off the notifications on our phones because we're going to be worried that we don't have those two premium players in my team, and I belong to that club.
That's fair. Honestly, I feel you on that, man.
You know what I forgot
I
to make
feel you on
mention
that.
of? My
What's that?
apologies. What I'm doing with Madison, who I'm bringing in.
Yeah,
I
who are you
was
thinking about? That's what
I
I was
was
going to
think
ask you.
Oh, I was thinking about Trossard just like you, only because I really don't know who else to bring in. I was also thinking about Billing. I was also thinking about Mount, but now you have me worried. You're a Chelsea fan. And your comment about Mason Mount possibly being benched already has me nervous. I also don't want to fall into this trap of thinking that Mason Mount's going to get a third double digit return. Has he even ever done that? I don't think so. So I'm not. I don't know, but I don't know who else to really bring into the team outside of a Trossard as a 1 week punt. So I'm already planning on whoever I bring in, I have to transfer out. That's the part that really bothers me about this particular game week, because whoever I bring in, I don't expect to hold long term, because the person who I want after this game week is Saka.
Yeah, honestly, I think with that we're on the same. I think we're on the same wave there. I don't plan on. I would have loved Madison to just stay, but since he's done, he has to go. But at least in my own team, um, it could just be someone to Trossard, and then I'd be looking at weighing up whether or not I'm just going to bring in someone like a Saka or a Foden or someone, one of those other more reliable rough $8 million players. But it's tough. It's tough because Trossard could also get the bench too, man. His manager was saying today or there was something that came out today that said
Lallana
that
was gonna
Lallana
play.
Lallana is going to play. Who's going to drop out of the team? It's not going to be McAllister, because McAllister has been the engine for that team. Is it going to be Pascal Gross? Maybe. Is it going to be Trossard? Maybe. Could be either one of them. You know what I mean? I just don't know. I just don't know. So it's a very tricky week, which is why I think this is the week where getting the captaincy right is the most important thing, because you're going to need your captain to return to hold your score this week. That's how I feel this week.
So as we move into game week 12, what are your final thoughts? Anything that you would like to share with the viewers in any type of way?
Uh, Final thoughts for this week. This is one of those weeks. It's a midweek fixture. A lot of the bigger clubs have had European games, Champions League, Europa that happened, a couple of days or a week or so previously now. So a lot of the players that we're used to regularly seeing on the pitch are coming up to that point where the physios are going to be telling coaches, hey, so and so, he needs a little rest. So and so, if we play him, we can only play him for like 60 minutes. There's going to be a lot of those discussions happening now. The lucky thing is, the first set of games that happen on Tuesday, there aren't any European bound squads there. It's Brighton versus Forest, Palace versus Wolves, which is a really good thing. But come Wednesday, when they're talking about teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, United, those are teams where I think we're going to see the most amount of rotation happening. So just something for us to look out for there. There's just going to be a ton of rotation this week. And honestly, it's going to be impossible to guess some of it, man. We don't know who the coaches are going to look to sit down, but that's going to be the biggest challenge this week. So like you put in the armband on Mitrovic, I think that's something that just makes sense because you need to put the armband on someone who you're sure is just going to at least play the game and has a high chance of returning. That like it's just one of those weeks. So that's my biggest takeaway for this week. The biggest thing to look out for. Any news that comes up, make sure you're following us on Twitter to keep in touch and see if anything happens kind of last minute, because it's going to be one of those weeks where that's going to be very important. What about you? What kind of last thoughts you have?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of people are going to be mad, and a lot of people are going to be excited and happy after this particular game week.
Yep.
There are going to be some surprise hauls, I think, because just like you said, it's a midweek game week. People have to get rested. So there are going to be some players who are going to get more opportunity, more chances, maybe come off the bench. I don't know who, but we can't look to the big names this week to get those hauls. They're not playing.
Yeah.
Right? Or they have been underperforming. So is it perhaps maybe Obama Yang's time to come in and all of a sudden get a Hattie and nobody has it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
like
it?
That. It could be something like that.
Right? Can something like that perhaps happen? I think I wish I had the option of playing 4 forwards, because the forwards are where I want to just have all of my money tied up and an extra slot for, because I'm really nervous of not having Harry Kane in this game week. Harry Kane will return. If you have the armband on him, you're going to be able to sleep very, very peacefully compared to people like me.
It's a tough week. It's up against United at Old Trafford. Wednesday night, hey,
this guy said Wednesday night, like the Wednesday has something.
Yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
But overall, I would also just like to say that if there is a time where some managers need to really think about how the moves that they're making are going to impact the rest of their season. It's been a long time since I've heard a lot about people playing their free hits so early. It's been years. A lot of people wait to play their free hits come those blank game weeks that are going to happen in the second half of the season. If you have to play your free hit, you have to remember for the rest of the season, you don't have it. It's going to impact everything that you're going to do moving forward. If you can only field 10, maybe it's a good opportunity to just field the 10. If you can only field 9, think about this for a second. Maybe this is just a game week where you have to say, I can only field 9 and not do the free hit. But if you have 5, maybe even 6 Arsenal and City players. This is crazy for you.
Yeah.
This you are on your own. This game week is gonna be really, really bad for you. You better hit that free hit button because I don't know what else you could do. Not only do you have to gamble on the free, you have to try to guess which players are gonna get hauls. This is a tough game week.
Yeah. But to be fair though, anyone who has 3 Arsenal and 3 City players, I would assume that it's Haaland, Cancelo, one of KDB or Foden, and then it's going to be Martinelli, Saka, and then a defender, probably Saliba, and their rank is probably up there.
It's probably already high. So this is the week where you can probably just chill. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. I'm upset that I'm not going to be able to watch all the games because obviously you and I are going to be working, being on this side of the world. But maybe you might have the games on the side or something like that. But we'll see. I'm excited. I wish you guys all the best in the upcoming game week. Be confident in your decision. Play your own game, as everybody likes to say. Don't fall into the trap of being so worried about this manager has this player and that manager has that player. Play your own game. Don't get too tied up in terms of your team value. Don't get caught up in a player's price value. If you sell a player, you can buy them back. If you sell them for a profit, you buy them back. Don't look at it as buying them back at necessarily a loss. Maybe other players have gone down in price. Salah's on bargain price right now. Mount, if you bought him at 7.6, he was a bargain price. Saka, if you bought him at 7.8, he was a bargain price. Players go up and down. Prices fluctuate. Don't be so worried about, oh, this player is this much value. Come on. Although you could make the same mistake as me and sell Martinelli and he only goes up. So, hey, play your own game. You don't got to listen to me. Brian, take us out here.
No, I appreciate that. Listen, if you guys are new around here or if you've just been enjoying the content, want to thank you first of all for tuning in. Also, it would be greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe so that you get the latest content whenever we drop it. We're here every single game week, as you can see. You can also follow us on Twitter for those very real-time updates that happen, those last minute changes that occur. Our Twitter is at UpYourRankFPL. Good luck this game week. It's going to be a tricky one to navigate. Peace out, and we will catch y'all in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe.